This infamous statement led to the banning of Niccolò Machiavelli's The Prince, making him one of the most controversial and misunderstood figures in history. In 1539, Cardinal Reginald Pole even called him an enemy of all mankind. Machiavelli was not a teacher of evil, he was a teacher of reality. He taught rulers not what is morally right, but what is effective. He believed that to achieve a goal, one could use deception, manipulation, or even violence if it served the purpose of securing and maintaining power. Lies, betrayal, murder, even the extermination of entire families, including children, were permissible if they ensured the stability and security of the state. At first glance, this philosophy appears ruthless, even diabolical. But beneath it lies an observation of human nature and the harsh realities of life and power. Machiavelli's ideas, though severe, are still relevant today, not only in politics but in business, leadership, and everyday life. He teaches us to understand people as they are, not as we wish them to be. Niccolò Machiavelli was born on May 3, 1469, in Florence, at a time of extraordinary political chaos. Italy was not a unified country. It was a patchwork of city-states. Florence, Venice, Milan, Naples, and the Papal States, all fighting for influence, power, and survival. Foreign powers, including France and Spain, frequently intervened in these struggles, making the Italian peninsula a battlefield of constant war and shifting alliances. Florence itself was a city of intrigue, conspiracies, and factional violence. In 1494, the powerful Medici family was expelled, and the fragile republic barely survived. Machiavelli grew up witnessing the struggle of noble families, mercenary armies that sold loyalty to the highest bidder, and the brutal reality of politics where ideals were often meaningless. In 1498, after the execution of Savonarola, a radical monk who briefly seized power and attempted to reform Florence, Machiavelli was appointed head of the Second Chancery, responsible for diplomatic and foreign policy matters. In this position, he observed and participated in governance during the Italian Wars, when France and Spain competed for control of the Italian territories. He saw firsthand the fragility of power, the treachery of alliances, and the relentless pursuit of advantage by both rulers and citizens. These experiences shaped his sharp, realistic view of politics, where survival often mattered more than morality. When the Medici returned to power in 1512, Machiavelli was implicated in a conspiracy against them. He was imprisoned, tortured, and ultimately exiled from political life. During this period of forced isolation, he wrote The Prince, intending it as a guide for rulers, especially Lorenzo de' Medici, on how to maintain power, stability, and control in a world dominated by ambition, deceit, and violence. Machiavelli's view of human nature was stark and uncompromising. He believed that people are fundamentally selfish, deceitful, cowardly, and ungrateful. While someone is useful to them, they will support and honor you. But the moment you are no longer advantageous to them, they will abandon or betray you. He rejected the idea that people could be trusted to act morally or virtuously. Therefore, a ruler must not rely solely on ideals or moral principles. Instead, a ruler must observe reality, anticipate deceit, and act decisively. He believed that an honest view of human nature, however pessimistic, was essential for survival and effective leadership. One of the most striking influences on Machiavelli was Pope Alexander VI, born Rodrigo Borgia in 1431. Alexander VI epitomized the cynical and ruthless use of power during the Renaissance. His pontificate, from 1492 to 1503, was characterized not by spiritual guidance, but by political cunning, nepotism, and the advancement of his family's interests. He used the papacy as a political tool, rewarding his children Cesare and Lucrezia Borgia with power and wealth, and employing excommunication and manipulation to control rivals and enemies. Observing this, Machiavelli concluded that morality and politics are often incompatible. A leader who expects loyalty or virtue from others without preparation for betrayal is doomed. Survival, influence, and control require cunning, decisiveness, and sometimes ruthlessness. Machiavelli famously said that success depends on expecting the worst in people. There is a modern phrase, almost Machiavellian in tone. If they throw stones at you, throw bread back, but with a grenade inside. The principle is not mere revenge, but strategic thinking. Be prepared, anticipate deceit, and use knowledge of human nature to maintain control and power. When it comes to governing, Machiavelli emphasized fear over love. Is it better to be loved or feared? He asked, answering that ideally, a ruler should be both. However, if a choice must be made, it is safer to be feared. Love is conditional. People support a ruler as long as it benefits them. Fear, on the other hand, is deeply rooted and can endure even in adversity. Cruelty, when applied wisely and strategically, is acceptable if it preserves order, stability, and the security of the state. Cesare Borgia serves as an example of this principle. His ruthlessness was calculated, aimed at preventing chaos and consolidating power. Fear, for Machiavelli, was not cruelty for its own sake, but a tool of governance. A successful ruler must be both a fox and a lion. The fox represents cunning, intelligence, and the ability to recognize traps and deceit. The lion represents strength, courage, and the power to intimidate enemies. A ruler who combines these qualities can navigate the dangers of politics while maintaining control. Machiavelli also stressed the importance of wise allies. A ruler's wisdom can often be judged by the company he keeps. Intelligent, loyal, and capable advisors are rare, yet they are crucial for the survival and success of a state. Deception is another tool in a ruler's arsenal. People are easily misled when presented with what they want to hear, even if it is false. A clever ruler can use this to maintain public support, prevent unrest, and achieve strategic goals. Idealistic leaders, Machiavelli warned, are often doomed. Those who cling strictly to virtue may be morally commendable, but they cannot survive in a world filled with ambition, treachery, and violence. Perception is more important than reality. Machiavelli emphasized that rulers must control appearances. A ruler may be ruthless or manipulative internally, but must appear just, noble, and caring to the people. True virtue lies in maintaining this outward image, even when internal circumstances are turbulent. The public judges by gestures, words, and behavior, not by hidden intentions. To lead effectively, one must master this art of presentation. Fortune, or luck, also plays a role in life and leadership. Machiavelli compared fortune to a wild river. Calm during drought, destructive during flood. Success requires bold, decisive action to control and direct fortune. Yet he believed that preparation, skill, and character can control half of one's destiny. The weak blame circumstances, the strong adapt and seize opportunities. Leaders succeed by turning luck to their advantage and mitigating its risks. Machiavelli is often misunderstood as promoting evil. In reality, he taught prudence, realism, and strategic thinking. He warned that if a leader is unprepared or naive, they will be destroyed by those willing to act decisively. He emphasized survival in a world where people can be ungrateful, friends can become enemies, and virtue without strength is powerless. He taught rulers to balance fear, cunning, and strength with mercy, strategy, and foresight. In essence, Machiavelli teaches that the world is not divided into good and evil. It is divided into those who understand the rules and those who suffer from ignorance. Leaders must adapt, make difficult decisions, and balance cunning with strength. They must instill fear when necessary, reward loyalty, and show mercy when appropriate. They must understand human nature, control appearances, and act decisively. Machiavelli's philosophy offers a clear choice. Either live in a fantasy, trusting that people will act morally, or face reality and take control, shaping it rather than being shaped by it. He did not advocate evil for its own sake. He advocated awareness, preparation, and courage in a world that is often unfair, chaotic, and dangerous. Those who learn from Machiavelli gain tools to navigate power, influence, and human behavior, surviving and thriving where the knave might fail. In conclusion, Machiavelli remains a master of realism. Leadership is not about ideals alone. It is about understanding the world, the people within it, and how to act decisively without naivety. To follow him is not to embrace cruelty, but to be prepared. To be Machiavellian is to see clearly, act wisely, and shape one's destiny rather than surrendering it to chance, illusion, or the goodwill of others. In a world of uncertainty, his lessons separate survivors from victims and the wise from the knave.